Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD1111 class for the fall 2020 semester at Rankin, I've been going through a series of video presentations based on the textbook for the class, that book being Get Programming with Node.js by Jonathan Wexler, a Manning text. I'm heading into the home stretch, so to speak, for Lesson 5. So we are up to adding routes to a web application. As mentioned here, a route is a way of determining how an application should respond to a request. So in other words, if I have a contact page, my route, if I put in the URL that I want to go to the contact page, should push me there. Alright, an application should route a request to the home page differently from a request to submit login information. Well, why is that? Because if I'm requesting the home page, it should route me to home. If I'm requesting login information, it should be sending me to a login page, as an example. You've established that a user can make a request to your web server. From there, you can evaluate the type of request and prompt an appropriate response. Consider your simple HTTP web server code, which so far has one response to any request. This example accepts any request made to port 3000 and responds with that line of code that we have seen, which basically says this line will appear, or this is the code that will show. So this was the original simple server example that we had. As a first web application, this is a great accomplishment. However, we need to do more right now. As it says, if the project were a legitimate application live on the internet, for example, you might want to show content based on what the user was looking for. Okay? If it was an about page or an information page, you'd want to show them a whole page, not just an H1 tag. Okay, right now, as it says, if the user visits any URL, whether it's 3000 info or whatever, they're going to get that same line of code. Alright, so the next step as mentioned right here, the next step is checking the client's request and basing the response body on that user's or that request's contents. That's known as application routing. As it says, routes identify specific URL paths. Alright? So, duplicate the simple server with a new name, simple routes. Then add a few routes to the main.js as shown in figure 5.6, which is on the bottom of page 56. So before we do that, let's jump back here. So I'm sorry, we want to grab this and call this simple routes. So let's rename this simple routes. Go back into here where we were. Let's close our main.js and let's hopefully everything's closed that was there. So let's come back to simple routes and open that with code. There's a bit of code that we have to add here. We will add it, as we have been. We'll manually come in and add that. So before our const port and all the other goodies that we have there, in fact, way up on the top here, we are going to come in and, according to what we have in our book here, it's smaller. And these are the routes that we're going to want to set up in here in the first 7 lines that you see right there. Alright, so I'm going to change this so it looks exactly as what's shown in the book. So anything that is in here currently that is not shown here will be gone within a matter of moments. Well, ideally at least. Come on. Alright, so const route response map equals /info h1 info page let's copy that because we've got several of these. One, two, three, four, five. So we've got info, contact, about, okay, about, hello, and I guess I skipped one. Try to be consistent here. Okay, that's all of them. Finish that, semicolon. Alright, then we want our const port equal 3000, so I'm getting rid of this. Well, let's leave that, I may need that. Const port equal 3000, HTTP, statuses require status codes, app equals create server. Now we're going back to changing it to the way it was before. this stuff, I believe. Yes, we are. Yeah, we're no longer logging, so I don't need this right here. Okay. A lot of stuff we're getting rid of here. Okay. Okay. Do this. But the important thing that we have to put in here is that if statement. Right there. I believe that's everything. And I'm just hoping that I haven't introduced any errors into here. All right, top of page 57. With the additions to your code, you can differentiate between a couple of URLs and offer different content accordingly. You're still not concerned with the method used in the request, but you can check whether the user was searching for info, contact, or route. All right, give the code a try. Save the code in your main.js. I did. Try accessing info, contact. All right, so let's try info and contact. This I think we can now get out of and come back into here. Now we want to move over to, what was it called? Simple route. Okay. All right. Now we want to come over here and try info. Well, it's not recognizing that. It gave us welcome, and I didn't want that. Looks like it's going to give us that for every page, which is not good. Huh. Well, our text had told us we did info or contact. We should get that particular information. What I'm going to do, so I think this is very important. Let's grab all of that code. And one thing I do like about this editor right here is that I can come in here and paste all that in. Okay. And also do a file open. I don't want second server anymore. I want simple routes. And there's that one. I'm going to open that one up in another window. And then look at these two. Well, none of these have the slash before them. So let's save that. And come back and try this again. So info page, great start. There's the about. There's the error. What else was left here? Great. Contact and hello. Alright, they're all working. So if I put anything else in other than these, let's put down test, we should get the welcome message. And we do. So, as far as I can tell, everything in here right now is working as it should be. Alright, so we did that. To mimic heavy processing or external calls made by your server, we can add a timeout in here. We can add a timer to main.js. And again, that is shown near the bottom of page 57. So I can go and I can add that. Let's finish the chapter and I'll go in and add it. If you run the file again, you'll notice the page's load time is approximately 2 seconds longer. You have full control over what code is executed and what content is served to your user. Keep this in mind. As the application grows, the web page's response time will naturally be longer. Alright. With what URL do users request the home page? Well, that's just a slash, I believe. Yep. So, as mentioned here, turning up to page 58. In this lesson, you learn how to handle request content, respond with viewable HTML, and build a server route for the first time. By identifying your request contents, you can process posted data from a request and separate response content based on targeted URLs. As the application expands, the routes will expand with it. Alright, in lesson 6, we're going to talk about serving what are called assets, and those that is HTML files, images, and web page styles, so CSS. So we'll do the try this in class. Alright. And again, I can come in here and try to put in that timer that's in there. I'm going to do this yet another way, not to confuse you, but sometimes it's just easier for me to do it like this. Set timeout. Res.end. So I'm going to take that, place that at the bottom in here. Let's put that right before our if statement. And we'll see if we try this again. So let's stop the run and start the run. Oops, it's not what I meant to do. Okay. So let's go over, we'll make this a little bigger. CD to simple routes. Node our main. And now when we go over here, what we should notice alright, (1001), 1002, there we go. Alright, so that's it for lesson 5. I'll be back with lesson 6 in just a couple minutes.